Hello and welcome to this session. This session is all about the exact equation. Let's start. We have the exact equation. This method can be used if the given equation below. Let's say you have m of x and y multiplied to dx plus n of x and y multiplied to dy equals to 0. You have to test if the equation is exact using the test of exactness. You have the partial of m. This is your m. Since kay dx siya nakamultiply, you have to differentiate this m with respect to y. Tapos si n, you have to differentiate it with respect to x since kay dy siya multiply. So, kailangan yung partial differentiation ni m at ni n must be equal. Kapag nag-equal yan, the equation is considered to be exact. So, for example, you were given the quantity of 2xy plus x cubed multiplied to dx plus the quantity of x squared plus y squared multiplied to dy equated to 0. So you have to identify the m and the n. So let's say your m is 2xy plus x cubed. Si 2xy plus x cubed nakamultiply kay dx. So i-differentiate natin siya with respect to y. So the only variable in this equation is y. Then all other variables is considered as constant. So pag differentiate natin siya, since si y yung variable natin, 2x is constant. So, 2xy, kapag differentiate, that is equivalent to 2x. Then, x cubed is considered as constant. So, the derivative of constant is 0. So, the partial of m with respect to y is equal to 2x. Then, the next one is your n, which is x squared plus y squared. Since kay dy naman siya nakamultiply, your partial differentiation should be respect to x. So, ang variable lang natin ay si x. So, si y ay constant. So, ito kapag dinifferentiate mo, should be equal to 0. Tapos, ito na lang yung i-differentiate natin. So, the partial differentiation of n with respect to x is 2x. So if you will notice, the partial differentiation of m and the partial differentiation of n is equal. So therefore, this given equation is considered to be exact. And another equation is you were given the quantity of x plus y dx plus the quantity of x minus y dy equated to 0. So identifying m, let's say m is x plus y multiplied to dx. So this is partial of m with respect to y. Constant si x, so that's 0. Variable si y, so the differentiation of y is 1. Then identifying your n is x minus y, so that is with respect to x since nakamultiply siya kay dy. So x is 1, then negative y is 0. So partial of m is equal to partial of n. Therefore, the given equation is also exact. Another example is the quantity of y squared minus 2xy plus 6x multiplied to dx minus the quantity of x squared minus 2xy plus 2 multiplied to dy equated to 0. If you will notice that the equation, yung gitnang sign is negative. So, you have to distribute first yung negative sign dun sa second term. So, your new equation is the quantity of y squared minus 2xy plus 6x multiplied to dx plus the quantity of negative x squared plus 2xy minus 2 multiplied to dy equated to 0. So your m is y squared minus 2xy plus 6x. So i-differentiate natin siya with respect to y since nakamultiply siya kay dx. So ang derivative ni y squared is 2y. Ang derivative ni negative 2xy, since constant si 2x, you will have negative 2x. Then ang derivative ni 6x, since constant siya, is 0. So, punta tayo kay n. Our n here is negative x squared plus 2xy minus 2. So, i-differentiate naman natin siya with respect to x. So, the differentiate of negative x squared is negative 2x. Then the derivative of 2xy, since with respect to x, ang constant natin dito is 2y. Then ang derivative ni x is 1, so you will have plus 2y. Then the derivative of your constant is 0. So you will notice that you will have 2y and negative 2x. So partial of m and partial of n is equal. Therefore, the given equation is exact. Next example is the quantity of 2xy plus y multiplied to dx plus the quantity of x squared minus x multiplied to dy equated to 0. So our m here is 2xy plus y. I-differentiate siya with respect to y. So constant si 2x. So you will have 2x. Then derivative ni y is 1. Punta tayo kay n. Our n here is x squared minus x. I-differentiate natin siya with respect to x. So we will have x squared, that is equivalent to 2x. Then negative x, that is equivalent to negative 1. So you will notice that both terms has 2x. Kaya lang, yung constant natin, kay m you have positive 1. Then kay n you have negative 1. So, they are not equal. So, hindi mo pwedeng gamitin yung exact equation dito sa given na to. Kasi nga, hindi siya exact. Kasi hindi niya na-satisfy yung test of exactness. Then last example, dun sa test of exactness, you have the quantity of 1 plus y squared multiplied to dx plus the quantity of x squared y plus y multiplied to dy equated to 0. So our m here is 1 plus y squared. Then i-differentiate natin siya with respect to y. So that is equivalent to 2y. Since 1 is constant, so that is 0. Then y squared is 2y. Then pagdating kay n, you'll have x squared y plus y. So, i-differentiate naman natin siya with respect to x. So, constant si y. Ang derivative ni x squared ay 2x. So, you will have 2xy. Then, pagdating kay y, since that is constant, the derivative of constant is 0. So, kung mapapansin nyo, si m ay 2y. Si n naman ay 2xy. They are not equal. So, this equation is considered not exact. Okay, so yun pa lang yung test of exactness. So, you'll have to perform tests of exactness bago mo gamitin yung solution ni exact equation. Kapag nasatisfy niya yung test of exactness, saka ka lang magpa-proceed sa solution nung exact equation. But, kapag hindi niya nasatisfy yung test of exactness, syempre, hindi mo pwedeng gamitin yung solution ni exact equation. So, how can we do or how will we do the exact equation solution? So, ganito lang yun kasimple. Exact equation solution. So, let's say you have the general equation given, the m of xy multiplied to dx plus n of xy multiplied to dy equated to 0. So, First solution is kukunin natin ang buo si M. Then, kukunin mo kay N yung directly integrable. When we say directly integrable, dapat since dy siya, yung y lang yung involved dun sa equation. Okay? Ulitin ko. Kukunin mo ng buo si M. Tapos, dun kay N, kukunin mo lang yung mga directly integrable equation. If dy si N, dapat all variables involved kay N must be y only. Or, we have another solution. Ang kukunin naman natin ng buo ay si N. Tapos, ang kukunin naman natin kay M is yung directly integrable with respect to x naman. Since dx si M, dapat ang kukunin mo lang sa kanya ay yung may variable na x only. Then, pag nagawa mo na yon, pwede ka nang mag-integrate. Kapag kay dx ka, lahat ng y is considered constant. Kapag naman kay dy ka, lahat ng x is considered constant. So, taking note that kahit alin dun sa dalawang solution ang gamitin mo, parehas ng magiging sagot. So, it's either solution 1 or solution 2. Now, let's go to our example. We have example number 1. You have to obtain the general solution of the given equation, which is the quantity of x minus 2y dx plus 2 multiplied to y minus x dy equated to 0. So you have to perform first the test of exactness para malaman natin kung exact yung equation bago natin isolve using the exact equation solution. So we have the test of exactness. So you were given your equation identifying the m. Our m here is x minus 2y. Since kay dx siya nakamultiply, i-differentiate natin siya with respect to y. So, constant si x, so that is 0. So, you will have negative 2y. The derivative of negative 2y with respect to y, that is negative 2. Then, identifying your n is 2 of y minus x. So, i-differentiate naman natin siya with respect to x kasi nakamultiply siya kay dy. So, you will now have 2y is constant. So, you will have negative 2x. So, you will have negative 2. So, the partial of m is negative 2. Then, the partial of n is negative 2 also. Therefore, they are equal. So, kapag equal sila, the equation is exact. So, we will use the exact equation solution. So, let's say, kukunin natin ang buo si m, so that is the quantity of x minus 2y dx. Tapos, kukunin natin yung directly integrable dun sa n. So, you will have 2y dy and negative 2x dy. When we say directly integrable, kapag dy yan, dapat walang presence na x yung kukunin mo. 2y dy, y lang yung involved, so kinuha natin yan. Pero pagdating kay 2 and negative x dy, that's negative 2x dy. So may presence ni x. So hindi natin i-consider yung term na yon. So our working equation is just the integral of the quantity x minus 2y dx plus the integral of 2y dy equated to c. Okay, now we will do the integration. So we will have x dx minus 2y dx plus 2y dy equated to c. Since this is x, variable sa x. Since this is dx, this y is considered to be constant. So, ang mangyayari, pwede nating ilabas si 2y kay integral since naka-dx siya. Kasi nga, constant si 2y. Then sa third term, hindi mo pwedeng ilabas si y kasi naka-dy na siya. So, considered as variable na siya. So, ang ilalabas mo na lang ay si 2. So, you will have the integral of x dx minus 2y integral of dx plus 2 integral of y dy equated to 0. Then the solution will be, this is equivalent to x squared over 2. Then this integral of dx is equivalent to x multiplied to 2y. Then y dy is equivalent to y squared over 2 multiplied to the constant 2 then equated to 0. Then simplifying the equation by multiplying it sa 2, you will now have an equation of x squared, then negative 4xy, then plus 2y squared equated to c. This is 2c. But since you have the arbitrary constant multiplied to another constant, it can be simplified as c. So therefore, the general solution for this equation is x squared minus 4xy plus 2y squared equals c. Now let's go to example number 2. We have to obtain again the general solution of the given equation v multiplied to 2uv squared minus 3 du plus the quantity of 3u squared v squared minus 3u plus 4v multiplied to dv equated to 0. So we have to perform first the test of exactness. So you were given the equation identifying the m. Our m here is v multiplied to 2uv squared minus 3. So, i-distribute muna natin yung v sa loob. So, our equation is 2uv cubed minus 3v. If you will notice, naka-multiply siya kay du. So, we have to differentiate the m with respect to v. So, constant si u, variable si v. So, 2u is constant. So, ang di-differentiate natin ay v cubed. So, you will have 3v squared multiplied to 2u. That is 6uv squared. Then, variable si v. The differentiation of negative 3v is negative 3. Now, punta tayo kay n. Since naka-distribute na siya, so, i-differentiate natin siya with respect to u. So, ang variable natin ay cu. So, ang derivative ni u squared ay 2u multiplied to 3v squared. That is also 6uv squared minus the derivative of 3u is 3. The derivative of 4v, since v is considered to be constant, so that is 0. So if you will notice, the equation of the partial of m and the partial of n is equal since they have both 6uv squared and negative 3. So kapag equal sila, the equation is considered to be exact. So, punta tayo sa solution of the exact equation. Again, kukunin natin ang buo, yung m. Tapos, ang kukunin lang natin kay n is yung directly integrable. The first term for the n is 3u squared v squared. Nakamultiply siya kay dv. So, kapag may presence ni u, hindi siya i-consider. Since may presence ni u squared, hindi ko siya kokopyahin kasi naka-dv tayo. Then the second term, you have negative 3u dv. Since may presence ulit ni u, hindi natin siya kokopyahin. Tapos, the last term is 4v dv. Since walang presence ni u, dun sa last term, kokopyahin natin yung term na yun. So, we have plus the integral of 4v dv equated to c. Now, simplify natin yung equation. So, we will have 2u v cubed that is multiplied to du minus 3v du plus 4v dv equated to c. Since this equation is du, lahat ng v na makikita mo dito ay considered to be constant. Since this is also du, lahat ng v na makikita mo dito is considered to be also constant. So, pwede nating ilabas lahat ng constant. Ang constant sa first term is 2v cubed. Then you will have the integral of u du minus constant here is 3v. Then the integral here is the du. Constant dito sa third term is 4. Si v is considered as variable since we have dv. Then equated to c. Now we have to integrate. U du is u squared over 2 multiplied to 2v cubed. Then for the second term, the integral of du is u multiplied to negative 3v. Then for the third term, the integral of v dv is v squared over 2 multiplied to 4 equated to c. Now all we have to do is to simplify the equation. Makakancel si 2, ang matitira na lang is u squared v cubed. Tapos second term is 3uv. Then for the third term, simplifying 4 over 2, that is 2, multiplied to v squared equated to c. Now, the general solution for this equation is u squared v cubed minus 3uv plus 2v squared equated to c. Now, let's go to example number 3. We have to obtain the general solution of this equation. The equation given is the quantity of cosine 2y minus 3x squared y squared multiplied to dx plus the quantity of cosine 2y minus 2x sine 2y minus 2x cubed y multiplied to dy equated to 0. Now, performing your test of exactness, you have the given equation, identifying the m. M is cosine 2y minus 3x squared y squared. I-differentiate natin siya with respect to y. So, variable si y, you will have cosine 2y. The differential of cosine is negative sign. Then your u, you must have your du. So, you will have negative 2 sine of 2y. Then the differential of negative 3x squared y squared with respect to y again, y squared is 2y multiplied to 3x squared, so you will have negative 6x squared y. Then identifying your n is the second term of the equation. So you will have cosine 2y minus 2x sine 2y minus 2x cubed y. So, i-differentiate natin siya with respect to x naman. Since this is cosine 2y, that is constant. So, 0 siya. Then, punta tayo sa second term. Constant si sine 2y. The only variable here is x. So, ang differential ni x is 1. So, ang matitira na lang is constant, which is negative 2 of sine y. Minus, the variable here is x cubed. Ang differential ni x cubed ay 3x squared multiplied to 2y, that is 6x squared y. Now, if you will notice, equal si partial ni m at si partial ni n, you will now have exact equation. So, let's perform the exact equation solution. Kukunin natin ng buo si first term, which is the quantity of cosine 2y minus 3x squared y squared multiplied to dx. Tapos ang kukunin natin kay second term is yung walang presence ni x kasi nga naka dy. So the first term, which is the cosine 2y, since wala siyang presence ni x, you can copy the cosine 2y dy. Then for the second term, you have negative 2x sine of 2y dy. Since may presence ni x, hindi natin siya pwedeng kunin. Then for the third term, you have negative 2x cubed y dy. Since may presence ni x, which is the x cubed, hindi din natin siya pwedeng kunin. So ang nakuha lang natin sa second term is just cosine 2y dy, then equated to c. Now, simplifying your equation, so we will have the integral of cosine 2y dx minus the integral of 3x squared y squared dx plus the integral of cosine 2y dy equated to c. So, ilalabas na natin lahat ng constant. Since this first term is in terms of dx, so cosine 2y is considered to be constant. So, pwede natin siyang ilabas. Then, yung second term, you have dx also. So, ang variable lang natin is x squared. So, ang matitira lang sa loob is x squared dx. Tapos, ilalabas natin ngayon si 3y squared. Then, pagdating sa third term, that is cosine 2y dy, variable natin ngayon si y. So, matitira sa loob si cosine 2y multiplied to dy, then equated to c. Now, we have to integrate. Then, dun sa third term, we have to let the u equated to 2y. So, the derivative of your u is 2 dy. So, you need to satisfy cosine u du. So, you need to insert 2. Inserting 2 kay cosine 2y, since nag-insert tayo ng 2, we have to balance the equation by inserting 1/2 outside the integral. Then, the integral equivalent of cosine 2y dx is constant si cosine 2y, then the integral of dx is equivalent to x. Then cosine si 3y squared, the equivalent of x squared dx is x cubed over 3. Then the equivalent of the last term, the integral of cosine u du is equivalent to sine u, which is sine 2y. Since may 1/2 sa labas, multiplied to 1/2. Now, we have to simplify the equation by multiplying the whole equation sa 2. So, our equation now is 2x cosine of 2y, cancel si 3, then multiply sa 2, you will now have 2x cubed y squared. Now, third term, cancel si 2. Ang matitira na lang is sine of 2y equated to c. So, the general solution for this equation is 2x cosine of 2y minus 2x cubed y squared plus sine of 2y equated to c. Okay, next example. Example number 4. Now, we have to obtain the particular solution of the given equation, which is 2xy dx plus the quantity of y squared plus x squared dy equated to 0. Now, we have to satisfy when x is 1, the value of y is 1. Performing first your test of exactness, we have the given equation. Our m value is 2xy. So, differentiating the 2xy with respect to y, you will have 2x. Then, your n here is y squared plus x squared. So, identifying your partial differentiation of n with respect to x, constant c y squared, so that is 0. Differentiating x squared, that is 2x. So, they are equal. So if they are equal, the equation is considered to be exact. So we have the solution of the exact equation. Copying your first term, which is the m, that is 2xy dx. Tapos ang kokopyahin natin sa pangalawa is just the directly integrable part. So dapat wala siyang presence ni x kasi naka-dy. So y squared dy, no presence of x, pwede natin kopyahin. Then pagdating kay x squared dy, since may presence ni x, which is the x squared, hindi natin siya pwedeng kopyahin. So that is equated to c. So you only have the integral of 2xy dx plus the integral of y squared dy equated to c. Now ilalabas na natin yung constant since this is dx. So ang matitira lang sa loob is just x. Then 2y is considered to be constant. Then pagdating sa second term, since this is dy, y squared is considered to be variable. So mag-integrate na tayo. X dx is equivalent to x squared over 2 multiplied to the constant 2y. Then y squared dy is equivalent to y cubed over 3, then equated to c. Now simplifying the equation by multiplying it sa 3, you will now have your equation as cancel si 2. Multiplying sa 3, you will have 3x squared y. Then makakancel si 3. Ang matitira na lang is y cubed, then equated to c. Now this is your general solution since you have the presence of the arbitrary constant c. Our target here is to find the particular solution. So now we have to use the condition of x is 1 and y is 1. So if substitute natin si x at si y, you will now have 3 multiplied to 1 squared multiplied to 1 plus 1 cubed, then equated to c. So this will be 3 plus 1. So the value is of c is 4. Ngayon, yung nakuha nating value na 4, which is the arbitrary constant c, isa-substitute natin siya ngayon dun sa general solution to find your particular solution. So your particular solution, you have 3x squared y plus y cubed equated to 4. Since this is your particular solution, so this is considered to be your final answer. You have 3x squared y plus y cubed equals 4. Now let's go to our final example, which is example number 5. Now we have to obtain the particular solution of the given equation, which is quantity of 2x plus y cosine of xy multiplied to dx plus x cosine of xy multiplied to dy equated to 0. So to get a particular solution, we have to use when x is 1, the value of y is 0. Now performing your test of exactness, so you were given the equation, identifying the m, our m here is 2x plus y of cosine xy. I-differentiate natin siya with respect to y. So our equation here is yung first natin, since this is 2x and we have to differentiate with respect to y, so that is 0. So pagdating dito, this is product rule. Since you have the y and you have the y also inside the cosine, so magiging product yan. So let's say, copying your y, then the derivative of your cosine is sine u du. If your u is xy, your du with respect to y is x. So you have x outside, then the derivative of cosine is negative sine. So you will have negative xy sine of xy. Then copying cosine, then the derivative of your y is 1. So that is your partial of m with respect to y. Then our n is x cosine of xy. So, differentiating the n with respect to x naman, so ang variable natin ay si x. So, you have x outside and x inside the cosine. So, you will also have product. So, copying x and differentiating cosine xy, your u is xy, your du is y, then ito si y. Tapos, ang differential ni cosine ay negative sign. So, you will have negative sign of xy multiplied to y, then multiplied to the copied x. Tapos, next term, kukopyahin natin si cosine, then the differential of x is 1. Now, if you will notice, partial of m and partial of n, parehas sila na negative xy sine of xy plus cosine of xy. So, the partial of m and the partial of n is equal. So, this equation is considered to be exact. So, performing your exact equation solution, we will have to copy yung buo ni m, so that is the integral of 2x plus y cosine of xy dx. Tapos ang kukopyahin natin kay n is yung walang presence ni x. Since isa lang yung term kay n, which is x cosine of xy dy, then if you will notice, may presence ni x sa angle and also outside the cosine. The ruling is, kapag naka-dy siya, kapag may presence ni x, dapat hindi mo siya kukunin. So, therefore, wala tayong kukunin kay n, and that is possible. Kung walang directly integrable kay n, wala tayong idadagdag dun sa equation. Just copy the whole m equation. Then, since wala tayong na-satisfy sa n, wala tayong kukunin sa n. So, our only equation is 2x plus y cosine of xy multiplied to dx equated to c. Now, simplifying the equation, that is 2x dx. Since constant si 2, pwede natin siyang ilabas. Ang matitira na lang is x dx inside the integral. Then, pagdating dito, you have the y cosine of xy dx. So, si cosine of xy, tapos si y, sinama ko kay dx. Bakit? Kasi we will let u as xy, then the derivative of u with respect to x, kasi nga naka-dx tayo, so constant si y, then the derivative of x is dx, so you have du as y dx. So, andun si du. So, this is cosine u du. So, we will have the equivalent integral to x dx is x squared over 2. Then, cosine u, the integral is positive sine of u, wherein your u is xy. So, you will have plus sine of xy, then equated to c. Then, simplifying the equation, that is x squared, kasi makakancel si 2, plus sine of xy equated to c. Now, this is your general solution. But we have to get the particular solution. So, we have to simplify, or rather substitute, the value of x and y. So, the value of x is 1, the value of y is 0. So, you will have 1 squared, then sine of 1 multiplied to 0 equated to c. Now, evaluating the equation, you will have 1, then sine of 0 is equivalent to 0. So, the value of c is 1. So, si c is substitute natin sa general solution. So, you will have x squared plus sine of xy equated to 1. Since wala nang presence ni arbitrary constant c, now this is your particular solution. So, if this is your particular solution, this is considered to be your final answer, which is x squared plus sine of xy equated to 1. Okay. That's all for this session, wherein the topic is all about exact equation. So if you have any questions, just comment down your questions and I will try to answer to the best of my knowledge para maintindihan nyo ng maayos yung topic about exact equation. So again, that's all. Thank you and God bless.